Hello and welcome to the Mitre10 Cup wrap-up show. Hi, I'm going to run through all of the round 6 games briefly, give you the results and how we did, and then also have a look at the table at the end of the to see how all the teams are going. And and this round I got 8 out of 8 on my predictions, so maybe it was a fairly predictable round, which not all of the. I think one of them was considered an upset as far as Super Brew went. I think a lot of people picked Hawke's Bay over North Harbour, but all the other results, so it was a fairly predictable round of games. We kicked off on the Wednesday night. The two teams in Storm Week, Manawatu and Tasman, and Manawatu's season just. Horrible season just continued, really. They lost, I say, to Tasman on Wednesday night at home, 19-29. Tasman marched on there. We then, on Thursday, Northland beat Southland, another team that's really struggling, and Southland haven't won a game all season. Manawatu did win their opening game, but have lost 5 and about since then, including another game we'll talk about at the end. Northland beat Southland 26-10, sort of fairly comfortable in the end. Northland really needing that one for the what is a very tight championship, looking for the playoffs. Bay of Plenty then got an absolute hammering by Waikato. I don't think many people saw this bigger margin coming up, and Waikato racked up 54 points. This one was put to bed pretty early on. I remember listening to that one on the radio. Then that was on Friday night. On Saturday, Hawke's Bay were downed by North Harbour. North Harbour putting up 51 points. So 3 games on the 2 games on the trot there where the half century was reached. Hawke's Bay put up 34 points. They got up quite a few points in there as well. Otago were then downed by Canterbury. No big surprise there. Again, Otago in the championship. Canterbury 9 times out of the last 10 premiership winners. So even though it's Battle of the South, Battle of South Island, it's always going to go one way. Taranaki then pushed Auckland extremely close, 30-31 in the end. Auckland, I think, scoring at the death there from memory, for Auckland to maintain their perfect record of 6 wins from 6 games. Taranaki sit bottom of the Premiership, also well in a second, but a team that's been inconsistent this season, and to have pushed Auckland so close was a bit of a surprise, to be honest. But good on them. Then into Sunday's games, Tasman in their Storm Week beat Counties by just 2 points, 21-19. I think a lot of people thought we were expecting a bigger margin, but it was Storm Week, you've got to remember. I think that's 3 wins on the trot for Tasman in their Storm Week, which is very impressive. I think they're the first team to have done that in the last 2 seasons. So very good performance by Tasman. Counties also, struggling again this season. In the last game of the round, Manawatu 7, Lions 49. And considering that the Lions, I think, only knocked over, was it 2 of 7 or 2 of 8 conversions? This one really could have been a much bigger margin. Gordon Bashop didn't. I've got to mince his name. Sorry. Was really bad with the boot this evening. Hit the post several times in the first half, where I think the Lions led something like 25-0 at half time, having missed 5 conversions. So, the Lions, Wellington got a very comfortable win over Manawatu. Making their, adding their woes to their season. So where does that leave us as far as the table goes? And sorry, I haven't got any post-match interviews for you this week. Next week I'll be going to, next round I'll be going to Bay of Plenty versus Manawatu on the Thursday night. Auckland versus Otago on Friday. I'll be catching the Ranfurly Shield game between Waikato and Southland on Saturday. and then on Sunday heading up to Counties versus Northland. So hopefully have match reports for you next Sunday night from 4 different games. But looking at the championship first, Waikato with that big win, that now means that they've won 4 on the trot after losing 3 on the trot. They sit on 23 points, which is 5 ahead of Hawke's Bay, who obviously we got that loss this weekend. Now Hawke's Bay do have a game in hand. Actually, all the sides do apart from Manawatu. So Waikato and Manawatu have played 7 games. Everyone else has played 6 in the championship. So a lot of storm weeks still to come for them. So Waikato low the lead on 23 points. Hawke's Bay second currently on 18. Northland, I say that important game there, has pulled them up to third on 16 points. Otago, that loss to Canterbury has seen them slip back to fourth on 15 points. Bay of Plenty on 9, and you've got to say they need to pick up some results pretty quickly, being as 6 points behind Otago with only a few rounds left to go if they're going to make the playoffs. Manawatu on 5 points and Southland on 2. You got to say those two sides are pretty much out of the reckoning as far as the playoffs go. It's going to be 4 of those 5 teams, isn't it? Let's be honest. Looking at those teams, Bay of Plenty get Manawatu next weekend, so actually followed by Otago, Southland, and Northland. So all of those are championship teams, and especially Otago and Northland. If they take points off them, that's obviously their fellow teams chasing those playoffs. So Bay of Plenty have got a nice run in there with 4 teams that for the easier side of things. Otago still have to face Auckland, who are obviously unbeaten, so they're going to struggle in that one. They've then got the Bay of Plenty game we've talked about. Tasman, again, that's another team who've only lost 1 game all season. And then Waikato, who are also going very strong. So Otago got a really tough run in. So even though they do sit in that 4th place, you've got to say they're going to. The chances of them making the playoffs are pretty. Have got to be on the lower side. Northland's running. Hawke's Bay, Counties Manukau, Waikato, Bay of Plenty. Hawke's Bay, obviously a team there, but also fighting for those playoffs. Counties struggling in the Premiership, but it is a Premiership side still. Waikato who are going well, and then Bay of Plenty. So some tough games, but definitely an easier running than Otago's. Hawke's Bay's running, and we've already talked about that Northland game. Then they've got Canterbury, Manawatu, and Tasman. So Canterbury and Tasman, 2 really tough games in their final 4. So you've got to say that Bay of Plenty might be sitting in 5th place on 9 points, but the much easier run in those than your Otago and Hawke's Bay have both got 2 of the top Premiership sides in their running. Waikato's running, only got 3 games left, but it's Southland, Northland, and Otago. So again, all championship teams that Southland won. That's once they've not won a game in 2 seasons now. So you'd expect them to win that one. So you've got to say that even that it's a Ranfurly Shield game, so Southland will be up for it big time. So Hawke's Bay and Otago have got the 2 hardest run-ins. So I'd expect Waikato, Northland, Bay of Plenty to be making those playoffs. It'll be interesting to see out of Hawke's Bay and Otago which one of those 2 might slip out. Hawke's Bay at least have got the points in the bank. Going up to the Premiership, this really looks like 2 halves of the table. Let's talk about the bottom 3 first. We've got Taranaki, Counties, and North Harbour on 12, 14, and 19 points. All played 7 games. And obviously one of these teams will get relegated. Taranaki's running, if we have a quick look at that, is North Harbour, Canterbury, and Wellington. So 2 teams that are going to be making the playoffs in the Premiership, and then another Premiership side in North Harbour. Counties running of Northland, North Harbour, and Canterbury. That Northland game, obviously a little bit easier. But again, both those sides playing North Harbour. So North Harbour got a real opportunity if they get those 2 wins to basically get themselves clear of that whole relegation side of things by playing Taranaki, Counties, and Auckland is their final game, which is going to be a tough one. So you've got to say North Harbour could pick up a couple of wins there if they get over Counties and Taranaki, which could put them back in to the playoff race. But they are currently 8 points behind Wellington, who have only lost 2 games all season. So they're looking for favours, obviously, from the next 3. The top 4 teams, Auckland still on 29 points, Tasman 28, Canterbury 27 and Wellington 27. So there's only 2 points between them up there, but Auckland have played one game less. The other 3 teams have all played 7 games. Wellington's run-in currently is Tasman, Auckland, Taranaki. So the Tasman and Auckland, obviously, Tasman only lost 1 game. That was to Auckland. Auckland haven't lost any. So 2 really tough games coming up for Wellington, which is why there is that small chance of North Harbour catching them. Canterbury's run-in looks a lot easier with Hawke's Bay, Taranaki, and then Counties. So 2 of the weakest teams in the Premiership, plus that Hawke's Bay one. So you've got to say Counties got a nice run in there. Sorry, Canterbury got a nice run in there towards the end of the season, and they'll be challenging Tasman seriously for one of the home playoffs. Tasman with Wellington, Otago, and Hawke's Bay. Again, that Wellington game is going to be key for them because they should be expecting to win both against Otago and Hawke's Bay, both down in the Championship. So their next game is going to be a key indication as to whether Wellington, either Wellington or Canterbury can overtake them for a home semi-final in this competition. Auckland at the top there, they've still got their Storm Week to come, which is in the last round of the game, so just before the playoffs, probably not what they really needed. But their game's coming up at home to Otago, away to Wellington, away to Southland, and then home to North Harbour. Otago, you definitely expect them to win that game. Wellington away, that's going to be a real good test for them. Southland away shouldn't be a problem for them, and then North Harbour at home. Battle of the Bridge, always a big one there. And North Harbour could still be fighting at that point for a playoff place if Wellington do slip up in those 2 other games. So that's how things stand at the moment. As I say, in the Championship, it looks like 4 from 5 are going to make the playoffs in Waikato, Hawke's Bay, Northland, Otago, and Bay of Plenty. And even though Bay of Plenty are out of the finals positions at the moment, they've got a much easier run in. Otago and Hawke's Bay, 2 really tough run-ins in this competition. Up in the Premiership, it's probably going to be the top 4 that will be there in Auckland, Tasman, Canterbury, and Wellington. North Harbour have got an outside chance of sneaking in, but unlikely, with probably Counties and Taranaki fighting it out for that relegation spot, between those bottom 2. That's how things look going forwards. So from my point of view, sat down in Hamilton. If Waikato and Auckland can both top their tables, that'd be great come finals time. As hopefully there'll be a couple of home finals that I can make as well. As I've said, for next round, I'm hoping to make 4 games on Thursday night: the Bay of Plenty versus Manawatu, Friday Auckland versus Otago, Saturday Waikato versus Southland, and Sunday Counties versus Northland. Still waiting to hear back from three of those for my credentials, but hopefully we'll be getting to all of those. So, Mitre10 Cup action, lots of great fun, lots of good action for the weekend, and looking forward to how the rest of the season goes. Enjoy whatever rugby you've been watching.